Ready, go!
Pirate Radio, KHBLLP, Hannibal.
Good evening, Pirate fans, and welcome to This Week in Pirate Football. This is Mark Dell. I got Joe Thomas sitting next to me. We are excited to be here. We're at Frozen Sippies, 108 North Main Street in downtown Hannibal. We're having a little pizza, having a few drinks, and talking a little Pirate football with Hannibal head coach Jeff Geschwinder. Like I said, we are just excited beyond belief. It seems like just last week we were finishing up the year, and here we are again, Joe, for
I tell you what,
2026.
Mark, this has kind of like been the exciting thing for most guys. It's kind of like waiting for September 15th for bow season to kick in, but also waiting for the end of August for Hannibal Pirate football.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think about this year round. We have such a good time covering the Hannibal Pirates, and what a season they had last year. But, that's in the past now. It's time to turn the page. And Coach, talk a little bit about that. Yeah, we enjoyed everything last year, but, it's time to move on now. Yeah. You've got a whole new identity this year.
That's something we've had to, press on the kids through the off season and into preseason is, just because we were successful last year means absolutely nothing. You know what I mean? If anything, it just puts a bigger target on our back. So, making sure those kids understand that the success of last year has absolutely nothing to do with this year. So, making sure they're stepping in those shoes, filling those shoes, and doing everything right and competing hard in practice.
Well, if anything, it puts a target on your back. Everybody's like, oh, Hannibal, they were the runner-up. Let's see, let's gauge ourselves against one of the best teams in the state. And everybody else has a new identity as well. I know you've got a lot of starters that come back this year, a lot of the skill position, but you kind of lost a lot on both ends of the sides of the ball on the offensive and defensive lines.
Yeah. Really just box work both sides, offensive line and defensive line and linebackers. We've had to fill in quite a bit there, but like I said, we've had a lot of guys that have been ready to step in those roles. It's been a case of, just because they were good last year, it's your turn now, and the success of last year does not flow to this year. So they got to step in and they got to do their work, and it's set up some really nice competition during practice. It's been a fun time, guys that are just scratching and clawing to get in those positions. So
right, Coach. We kind of talked a little bit about having a target on our back, but with that target on our back, we also have an entirely different schedule for the Hannibal Pirates this year that really for this whole area we're not accustomed to. We've lost the conference deal last year. We're kind of swimming out there in the open ocean, and we've got some big schools this year. Did we have anybody new on your football coaching staff that's addition to this year?
Oh yeah. We got 3 new coaches on staff. We had a couple coaches that with their job, they're, coaches that weren't working at the school, but were coaching for us, and their job they just couldn't make it work to be able to stay on full time or make that full commitment. So, we replaced, 3 coaches, brought up Daryl Chin from the junior high, hired on Mike Allgood, who has a lot of experience. I've coached with him in a track for the last handful of years, but he's got a lot of good football experience as well, in his previous coaching spots. And then Luke Hart, who helped with us last year, volunteered last year. So I hired all 3 of them on this year, so there's going to be new faces. Luke Hart, not so new. He was on the sideline with us all last year. He was just volunteering. Daryl Chin was on the sideline with us all last year, but he was a junior high coach. But those guys we've bumped them up to varsity now. So,
Coach, right. Joe talked about this. It is a new schedule this year. We got some big schools. We got Eureka on the schedule, Festus, St. Dominic, Jackson. It's a juggernaut of a schedule. How do you go about preparing differently, if anyway, rather than going into what is going to be the North Central Missouri Conference? You've seen that for many, many years, but you've got a juggernaut ahead of you this year.
Yeah, it really is. And, really, it doesn't change anything on how we prepare. Even we're in the conference, even some of the weaker teams we played last year, Fulton, Marshall, and even St. Charles Lutheran, we still come out and prepare for those games the same way that we came out and prepared for the state championship. We really try to press that into our kids throughout the season, throughout the week. Who's lining up in front of us makes absolutely no difference. We got to keep getting better week in, week out. No matter who it is, we've just got to be better this week than we were last week, working all the way into November. But, and like I said, we got new schedule and we got some big dogs on there. So, we've always started off with Elias, which is always a really tough game right off the bat. So really, it's going to be a lot of games like that this year. You know, they're going to be dogfights from beginning to end, and our kids need to be ready to roll. There's just no cream puff games where we can count on getting other dudes some reps in the second half of those types of things. It's a case of everybody needs all hands on deck week in, week out this year. So it's going to be good for us by all means. It's going to keep our focus sharp. It's going to keep us sharp through practice, and it's a schedule that doesn't allow you to relax.
Right. You know, Coach, here you kind of brought us, and I really appreciate you bringing this to Mark and I and to Joel. Terry has stepped down with us this year, and you know, I hope Terry comes into the booth with us, just gives us that history for us here for Mark and I. But you know, we did lose a lot of the offensive line guys this year, and you did highlight for me kind of our offensive line this year. Can you talk a little bit about these guys, kind of like where they at, and as far as their class, or the junior, senior, sophomores, where they're at? You know, because I did watch a little bit of the come out and meet the Pirates kind of scrimmage game the other day, and you know, we still got some size up front. We still got some size. Obviously, we know we got returning Chums. He's probably going to be the blind side left tackle over there. And then Philip Martin, who's just a horse inside there. He was strong as a freshman. I can't imagine how strong he is now.
He's squatting over 600 pounds.
Good Lord.
Wow.
But, you know, he's just a ball of strength there. But you got three new guys. They're having to fill it, Nick Thomas and Patrick Arthod's position there. And, you know, there's some big shoes to fill. I mean, and Nicholas got some size 18 shoes. I mean, those are big shoes anyway.
Literally big shoes.
But nonetheless, you know, can I talk about your O-line, kind of what we got looking for us this year so far?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, you know, Philip Martin coming back starting last year, so you know what you're getting out of him. I mean, he's just a bowling ball full of muscle and meanness. You know, and then Chris Nice, you know, stepping in at left tackle. He played a few games for us last year at right tackle, and filled in at some left tackle when Noah Brown missed a game or two. So he's got some good varsity experience under his belt on the offensive side. But, you know, Christian did play defense for us all last year. So,
absolutely.
You know, varsity experience is nothing that he's not ready for. But he's just, you know, tightening all the screws on the O-line and making sure he knows all the checks and all that.
He's just a junior.
And he's just a junior. Both he and Philip are both juniors this year.
That's awesome. I just didn't realize that.
Yeah, our two returners are both juniors this year. And then Connor Ledbetter has stepped into the center role. You know, he did that, you know, working through the summer and working into preseason camp. And the kid can play anywhere up front. You know, he's gotten tons of reps at guard. I hadn't filled as much tackle as much just because he doesn't have the size, but he can play either guard position. He could play center, and man, he's really taken a hold of that center spot and done really well with it.
Looking at him the other day in basically that scrimmage game, I mean, it looks like his snaps were right to Wyeth. We didn't have anything that was high, low. It was pretty much right in Wyeth's hands. And you know, when Wyeth got that ball in his hands there, it's game on.
Yep, I mean, snapping the ball, him knowing what he's doing, snapping the ball, taking the right steps, that's not an issue at all. You know, the biggest thing that we lose a little bit there is just size and strength. You know, Patrick Arthod, he's a first-team All-State offensive lineman. That's tough to fill, but boy, Connor has gone in there and he's done an outstanding job. He's great with double teams. He's extremely quick climbing to the second level, and he's just so smart and knows what the play is, where his leverage is always right. So, you know, that's exactly what you need there. And then, you know, filling in that left guard position, Joey Bailey. He's somebody who wrestled for us last year. He transferred to Hannibal at the beginning of last year, but started the season off with knee problems, so he never couldn't play football for us last year. But he was a state qualifier wrestler last year, and he's another kid, kind of like Philip Martin. He's just he's a ball of muscle and meanness that you know, he just needs reps and just make sure he knows everything and what's going on. And he has made leaps and bounds of improvement just in the last 2 weeks. So he's going to be a good one. And he also rotates in. All these guys rotate in on the D-line as well. But, I mean, he's just a quick, strong, just mean son of a gun up there.
Right.
And then that right tackle spot, you know, we got Cole Hickman. Cole Hickman, somebody that's worked his butt off for the last 3 years. He's a senior coming in. He's played scout team offensive and defensive line for the last 3 years against some of the best linemen that we've had come through here. So even though he hadn't had a ton of varsity snaps, he's had a ton of reps against first-team All-Staters and, you know, lining up against Trey Hoskins and some of those guys, Aiden Scott. He's got Cole's got plenty of experience dealing with some top-level D linemen.
Right. Coach, is there, besides those guys, is there anybody else that has stood out that really surprised you so far in practice or in the Jamboree that you stepped up that you didn't really see coming earlier this year?
I mean, nothing that's really surprising, but, guys that have just impressed the crap out of us coming in, like Cash Reading. I mean, he's one that's played a lot of wideout for us the last couple of years and doesn't have a ton of wide receiver stats, but he has been just as pivotal in the blocking schemes and our run game when he was out there receiver, where this year, he's really locked into the strong safety spot on defense. And, I mean, that kid is flying around the field like his hair's on
I know
fire.
He's got some speed to him, too. You get the ball in his hand and look out. He's moving.
He's got speed. I mean, he was on a school record 4x1, 4x2 team this past year. So he's got some serious running
Did
speed.
we lose Cash to ACL back against the
He,
Fort Zumwalt West?
last year,
he struggled with that.
it was either, I think it was Fort Zumwalt West. Week 9, he got popped in the leg and tore up his ankle.
Yeah.
So he missed a lot of the district's playoff stuff. But he's somebody, you know exactly what you're going to get. You're going to get loads of effort. You're going to get speed, and he has cranked up his physicality this year where he is just fun to watch.
That's good.
I'm really excited to watch how he, fits into that spot that Ben Worthington left there last year. And, we're seeing very similar type of play out of Cash.
So out of our secondary, who's our secondary from the corners to the safeties there, Coach?
Well, we got Darian, Wyeth, and Cade that are back from last year.
Right.
Cash Grievin working into that strong safety spot, and then Reed Holiday's working at the other.
Red.
Reed Holiday. Reed, somebody that we used quite a bit last year in our nickel package, especially through the end of the year. His team started trying to throw a little bit more on us. So he's somebody that we know we can lock on somebody, and Reed, he's got good speed, high football IQ, and he's got some meanness in him also.
Oh, absolutely. And how about our linebacker core? What are we looking at there?
Linebacker core, that was one. Not saying that I was worried about it, but you always have a little worrisome whenever you got completely fresh guys, regardless of, that they're going to be able to get the job done. Because, the past handful of years, we've had at least one linebacker back each year. You know what I mean? A few years ago, Ashton Watts was back and was able to mix in with some new guys. And then Dylan Bach was back and able to mix in with some new guys. And then Kaysen was back, able to mix in some new guys. Well, it's a whole fresh batch this year, but they're guys that can flat out play. Gavin Dudley, both Murphys, Logan Essex back out this year as well. And I'm telling you what, at linebacker, he reminds me of Tyler Hardy at linebacker back in 2021. He has got some speed, some toughness, and he is just a downright mean.
Now, do we have the tandem of Lightning and Thunder, the Murphy twins, at linebacker position together, or is one of them going to be playing more of a tight end?
We can put them wherever we want. Obviously, Julian's played a lot of defensive end for us last year, so he's got a lot of good varsity reps. And he's taken a lot of reps this year, both with his hand down and back at a linebacker spot. So he's gotten some good reps both in both spots. Donnie was somebody that we always knew that could absolutely do it. He just didn't get the reps last year because, again, he had 2 first-team All-State linebackers ahead of him. You know what I mean? Same with Gavin Dudley, too.
Right.
Guys that we saw him in scout team. We see him every single day in practice. We've seen him against guys that are first-team All-Staters, and we know they can hold their own, and they know what they're doing and know the shoes they need to fill.
Well, it just seemed like that after season last year, it almost seemed like the Murphy twins maybe ate a 6th grader. They were so big. So big. I talked to them actually at First Bite here on Sunday about lunch. It's my dad's birthday.
I saw those guys. I'm like, that's them?
I know. And thank goodness Christina, the mother, told me the other day at County Market, she said, well, you can tell Julian and Donnie because Julian still has his braces on. Thank goodness for the braces.
Here we go.
So I know Julian is number 8 and Donnie is 0, but man, those guys already have offers from Eastern Michigan.
Well, I love the way that our good friend Chris Dewar put it. He said the only problem he had with the Murphy twins is they weren't triplets.
Well, they are triplets actually. They actually have a sister.
Does she kiss or something?
From what I hear, I think she may be tougher than all of them.
I heard that too. I think she's a little bit meaner than both the boys.
No, but you're absolutely right with those 2 kids. They you could start to really see it coming along last year, and man, they put the work into the off season. And they are dudes. I mean, that's all there is to it.
They are scary.
And I've seen the kids play ever since they were in elementary school, sort of the same class as my son, and they played football and basketball and baseball and all that stuff, and if I could show you the pictures of them from way back then to compared to now, man, they put some work in.
It's a different deal. You know, Coach, we kind of went over a little bit of this defensive guys and up the secondary side. Before we go to commercial break, or let's kind of look at our defensive line, kind of what we're looking at now. I know we got a lot of different faces there. Obviously, you know, when we got All-State Trey Hoskins up there, and then the Arthod's coming in there. You know, we got different. It's a different look now. You know, let's talk about that line now.
Wrong Hoskins there.
Yeah, we got Cade
not T-Rex. I think we got his brother Cornbread.
we got Tank or Bullet. One of the two. I told him he was happy with either of the two of those names. So, but the size that he is built and as fast as he is, I mean, he's a little bit more severe than a Tank.
Yeah,
but agreed. Let's talk about that defensive line there before we go to commercial break. You know, we're kind of looking at that 4 down linemen. Are we looking at 5?
You know, we can rotate back and forth, but we typically stick with 3 or 4. You know, and even when we do have 3, we're working with stunts and pressures and movements and stuff like that. Coach Hoskins has such great offensive schemes, and the way he fits my mentality as far as when I used to call defense a long time ago, as far as attacking. You know, you use your athletes, and he does an outstanding job of that. We got some athletes to use this year. So, you know, we're playing around a lot of things, getting hands down, popping off, getting 3 hands down and sending some backers, and, you know, We've got some good athletic defensive backs and backers that we can really move around and play a lot of games. But, you know, up front with Christian Nyson, you know, Philip Martin, you know, using Cole Hickman a little bit, using Joey Bailey a little bit. Evan Watts has been working in there. Yep. So we got plenty of guys that we're rotating. And the biggest thing, what we've really been good about the last 2 years is how well we've rotated that defensive line and keeping those guys fresh and having as many guys we could have ready to play on Friday night and getting a good rotation to keep them fresh, because obviously we're using a lot of guys on both sides of the ball. So, you know, it's extremely important that everybody knows what they're doing. We're able to rotate guys good and, you know, be able to play different games with our defense, you know, if our defensive line is some of those bigger guys need a little bit more break, we'll go 3 hands down and get another linebacker, defensive back in there and let them run around. So
we still have the same speed, kind of like what we had last year, just going from sideline to sideline. We're tough to get outside.
I think sideline to sideline, we may have some better speed this year.
Oh, wow. Holy
I'm telling you, running scout team offense versus our defense, there's so many times when the play starts, I'm thinking it's wide open and it closes in a blink of an eye. I mean, wow, we got some dudes that can run.
Guys, that's serious, because we all know what we did last year defensively. You know, we took Kingston Miles, and, you know, it's a 2,300-yard rusher last year, and I'm not sure.
Did he have 50 or 30? I'm not sure
30,
he was even
like
present for the game.
You know, and 51 yards on like 30 carries.
Yeah, 51 yards on 30 carries. You know, and that guy had strength and speed and could do everything with it. But, you know, and we know what our defense did last year. And if our defense is comparable speed or maybe even faster this year, Mark, that's going to be super scary.
Oh, can't wait. Cannot wait to see that.
You know, and that's something we got to work in the box, too, is make sure we're using our speed in the box. You know, last year we were able to out-muscle some dudes. This year we're going to have to be a little bit quicker and a little sharper about what we do.
Right. Well, Mark, and let's just go ahead and bring it back to the studio there. A little, a little break for a second. Then we'll come back and visit the offense schemes, and then talk about what we're looking at here this next week.
Coming up this week. All right, you're listening to This Week in Hannibal Pirate Football live from Frozen Sippy's 108 North Main Street in Hannibal.
This is Marcus Allen, the owner of Frozen Sippies at 108 North Main Street in historic downtown Hannibal. Frozen Sippies offers a family-friendly atmosphere with frozen slushies for all ages. We're proud to carry Papa Murphy's Pizza for dine-in or carry-out. We have pool tables, dartboards, plenty of space to host private events, including bridal showers, birthday parties, and more. Phone number is 573-603-1113. Frozen Sippies, bringing a taste of paradise to your hometown.
Are you concerned about the economy, interest rates, or current market conditions? For timely information based on sophisticated research, Raymond James Financial Advisor Steve Virel, located in Hannibal, can be contacted at 221-4500. He can discuss your specific needs and help to provide you with investment choices that make sense for you. To make an appointment with Steve Virel, his office can be reached at 221-4500. Raymond James Financial Services Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC. Life well planned. Go Pirates!
Crescent Jewelry has always been the Hannibal Pirates' #1 fan. They know and appreciate the efforts and determination these young men must have to enjoy a successful season. Crescent Jewelry has used the same principles to run their business. Your local hometown jeweler for all your jewelry needs is Crescent Jewelers. They offer quality jewelry. Like the Pirates, they try hard to go that extra yard. Crescent Jewelry, 207 Broadway in downtown Hannibal since 1842.
Everyone who attends sporting events in Hannibal is familiar with the name often seen on players' shirts, the James O'Donnell Funeral Home. I'm Jimmy O'Donnell. Since the early 1900s, my family has supported area athletics while serving this region with care and compassion. Today, I carry on the tradition of the 5 generations before me by supporting local area sports. From T-ball to college ball, the James O'Donnell Funeral Home has the health and well-being of this community at heart.
Thinking about retiring? Let us help you prepare for your tomorrow. At Benson Financial Group, we help you establish goals aligned with your values. Our professionals will build you a plan so there will be a smart place to get your money when you need it. When tomorrow becomes real, make sure you enjoy it. Our advisors would be honored to guide you as you plan your future. Benson Financial Group, built on trust, dedicated to service.
Back to This Week in Hannibal Pirate Football. We are live at Frozen Sippies, 108 North Main Street. Mark Dowell and Joe Thomas having a little chat here with Hannibal head coach Jeff Geschwender. And Coach, year in and year out, you start off with a juggernaut. The Helias Crusaders, our old nemesis, comes to town. Been a few years since we've beaten the Catholics. I'd like nothing better than to start off with a big W this week.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great game for both programs. We both really enjoy this game. After this game, both programs, we really get a good look at what we have, what needs to be worked on, if anything needs to be changed, strengths and weaknesses we get out of this game. So it's always a fun one for both groups, but, this is their head coach's last season.
I'd say Coach Hench has been around a long time, and before him, his dad was around.
Yep.
So, the Hench's family's been around Helias football forever.
Yep.
But, I did see that he announced that his retirement at the end of the year. So, they're going to ramp it up a little bit, even more than they normally do. But it would sure be nice to start them off with an L.
Yeah, it really would be. Kids, they want it more than anything, Obviously, when you start off what we have the past few years with a loss right off the bat, it really makes you sit back and think and really think, what are we doing right? What are we doing wrong? You know what I mean? So there's goods and bads out of both, but you know how it is. You start that year off with a win, man. You feel like you're unstoppable, and things can usually go up from there. So, that's what we're really hoping for.
Last year, we were down to Helias, and this one player, Mark, he came kind of out of the woodwork, at least for me. I remember he caught a couple passes, and we were like, who's number 14? Alex Arzad, made a name for himself in that game.
Oh, I remember.
And the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
he was such a
set the tone, right.
tight end, game in, game out. But, Coach, who do we have in that tight end role for us for the Pirates this year?
Well, Gavin Dudley's been playing a lot of the tight end, and then both Murphys we're able to use in and out if we want to go double tight, if we want to go that tight end wing look that we used a lot last year with Alex.
Right.
And we also got, Jaron Tanner, who's a junior this year. He played for us first last year, and he's put on about probably 30 pounds of muscle over the off season. So he's just a big, strong body in there too. So, we've got 4 guys that we are comfortable with throwing in at tight end and getting good stuff out of.
Okay.
And really out of the receiver part of the tight end, we may be a little bit better. Both Murphys have some serious speed and quickness, and Gavin Dudley's no slouch either. He does stuff right. He runs his routes right. He catches everything, and he's got some deceptive speed that people don't see. But then when you see him on the football field, he can flat out get after it.
What about Red Holiday? Is he our principal wideout?
Yeah, Reed Holiday, Julian English. They're working in at wideout, and then Cash Grieving, Keegan Daughtery, and then Lucas Geschwender, my son. They've been rotating in those 2 wideout spots too. We got 5 guys that can play wide out pretty good. We can kind of play some games with Reed too if we want to, and move him into a couple of little different spots.
It's a little bit different, kind of a camo type look where they don't isolate him so much.
Yeah, we got a couple little things and some things where it keeps him on an island, it keeps them on and keep our wideouts on an island by themselves with a corner that.
Right.
So now we feel really good about our receiving core this year. Probably a little better than what we've had, as far as the depth that we have, and heck, we got 2 guys with Reed and Julian. I mean, those 2 guys, they are playmakers in their own right, so really excited about that.
Well, Coach, how exciting is it to have Wyatt Dorsey coming back after not just a season, but a 13-game campaign last year? I mean, he led the charge, led the team, took the reins, and he played quite a bit as a sophomore as well. So he should be, stepping right up and ready to roll.
Yeah. Really, Cade and him, they have got more varsity snaps than anybody on the team. Cade started filling in and playing safety his freshman year, and then Wyatt was a starting safety his sophomore year with Cade. So those guys have been in that defensive backfield now. This is their 3rd year. They know all the ins and outs and in-betweens of everything going on. And having them back on offense, especially when you got a quarterback back that's as smart as Wyatt, as talented as Wyatt, somebody that can make crappy calls on my part look good because of what he's able to do. Trust me, it helps a lot. It really helps us out as play callers too, being able to do different things that we really want to do, because we know we got guys, 1, we got a captain leading the ship that we know can make sure stuff's being done right. But 2, we just got talented kids that can do a lot of things with high football IQs too, so you're able to do a lot of different things with them.
Now, you're going to let Wyatt kind of run some audibles back there this year?
Well, our whole offense is audibles because it's our option game.
He does do a good job of reading the defense.
I'm telling you, and all our quarterbacks that play under me, and especially Wyatt, they know that, if they're seeing some stuff and they come bring it to me, by all means, we're going to run what they're seeing, and we're going to give them what they want. I mean, I've always, last year going through that playoff run, we'd have Trey or somebody come over, hey, we run this. Yep, do it. Go run it. You know what I mean? So those are the guys out there. They're seeing it, and if they see something, they got such high football IQs that if they see something, they know they can bring it to me, and we'll make it work.
Well, we've kind of went over everybody here, and of course, there's a couple guys we really haven't kind of brushed up on here, Mark. But it's been, and obviously we've had an Aeneas Williams for 4 years from different guys, from A.J. Thomas to Aeneas and Mike Ferreira. We've had some great tandem running backs back there, but this running back combo we have in the backfield this year is pretty legit.
It is. Yes.
Pretty legit.
It is. And you add Wyatt to the mix too, not just because you consider him a running back as well.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you now, the 2 Strawby brothers are no slouches either.
I saw one of the Strawby brothers at the pickleball court last night. Good Lord. He is massive.
We got 5 dudes that can run the ball.
Massive kid. I'm sure he's fast. I mean, I watched one of them last year run someone, when we had one of those games that we're just up so much, and it's the second and third team running in the second half of the game there. But, Cade Hoskins had an incredible year, not only in football last year, but track wise too. Unfortunate event there in the state track deal. I think was the
Don't remind me of the state track deal.
Bad deal. But as far as like his 40, I mean, he's around the 4.3.
He's about 4.4. I think it's what he would.
At 200 pounds, guys, of sheer terror running through there. And then we have Slash Washington. I mean, he's just he to me, he has the same type of lateral abilities as an Aeneas Williams. Maybe not the breakaway speed to it, but his ability to read and cut and make a play out of a lot of nothing there.
He's got vision that I just do not understand. He makes guys miss in the box and in such a small space. I don't know how he does it, but, man, it's fun to watch.
I mean, with those guys, you definitely have kind of a power and a little bit of finesse with Darian. But, and Darian's size now, we've talked about it off air a little bit. Darian has put on 20-25 pounds of muscle onto him this year. Maybe his top-end speed is not the fastest of the crew back there in the backfield, but his ability to miss tackles is second to none.
Yeah, and I mean his football speed is right up there. You know what I mean? You're not going to see a lack of speed by him.
No. But Cade Hoskins' ability to last year he kind of made some little cut moves and stuff, especially during the St. Mary's Southside game that we had to reroute and postpone the game till mid-afternoon, basically, Mark. But when we got to St. Mary's Southside there at Herman, Missouri, and when Cade Hoskins broke through the line, the 48-yard touchdown run, St. Mary's Southside looked at one another and kind of like, what the hell was that?
He was at the safety spot before they blinked.
Before they blinked, and there was no catching that kid. Mm-hmm. And with his size, holy cow, I don't want to get in front of him. Not at all. Not at all. I mean, just a power player. But, so we've kind of talked about all the position guys there, unless you feel like we're missing anybody there. But, we're coming into Helias this week. It's always a great game. I think
they're well coached.
They're well coached, well-disciplined team there, Mark. You're right. They're coming in here to Hannibal Friday night, 7 o'clock. What are you kind of seeing, Coach, from your perspective? What are you getting ready for them? Obviously, do they have a Calvaruso kicker still?
They've had one for 12 years now.
But they have like 5 or 6 brothers.
Vito and Nick, and there's been a bunch of them.
But, nonetheless, we know they got a great kicking game down there. But what are we kind of expecting out of Helias? The same stuff as we've seen in the past?
Oh, yeah. Scheme-wise, you're going to see the same stuff.
They like to spread it out, as I remember.
Yep, they have no problem throwing the ball 50 times a game, really, which was kind of where we got beat by the scramble rule, Their quarterback was able to get out of some pressure, and their wideouts were able to get away from coverage, and they were able to dig themselves out of some bad situations. There were numerous 3rd and longs that they just snuck out a first down, just scrambling and throwing the ball. So, but they got a new quarterback this year. They got new guys all over the place. They graduated a good majority of their offensive line. They graduated a good majority of their entire defense, graduated all their linebackers. But they do have, a couple guys back and their quarterback or with Helias, regardless of who they graduate, they're going to have dudes exactly the same coming right back up the next year. They're probably 3 or 4 deep in every position and don't lose a whole lot of talent regardless how far they go. But they're going to be a solid, well-coached team, and their coaches will be the first to tell you, if you watch them last year, they were by no means the most athletic team on the field in every single game they played, but they were undefeated all the way till the last game of the season. They find ways to win, whether it is throwing the ball, running the ball, kicking the ball, whatever it is. They find ways to win, and they find ways to take advantage of mistakes, and that's the biggest thing that we need to really focus on is just playing our game and limiting mistakes. Don't give them opportunities. So, we're expecting them to throw the ball everywhere, us to put pressure on them, hopefully, and us to give them a good mix of everything we got.
Right. Coach, I know down through the years, I look back at special teams, and there was always 1 or 2 kids that you just couldn't wait to watch them put on a hit with somebody. I go all the way back to the days of Grant Taylor, all the way up through King James Wetton. You just knew somebody was going to get popped. Have you seen anybody like that you expected to take over that role this year?
Dallas Nicholson. He kind of started doing it his sophomore year. He was a dude last year on all of our special teams. Maybe not a knock your head off kid, but man, he flies down there. He takes right angles, and
somebody's going to get hit.
And somebody's going to get hit. Today in practice, somebody got hit. But he's somebody that's working in a lot on defense too that we didn't mention in some of those safety spots. And has just done an outstanding job, working in and learning all the stuff that we're doing. And again, those safety spots have been taken by some really talented players the last few years, and he's stepping in doing a great job. He's the biggest leader on all of our special teams. So he's the type of kid that can do a lot of things, and he's a great role player and an extremely important piece when it comes to the whole game.
Right. Yeah. I mean, my hitter was Jackie Boyd Parker.
Oh yeah, another one. Yep. Yeah, you could always guarantee that
Jackie was such a nice kid. Just such a nice kid when you talk to him and throw a helmet and shoulder pads on him, and he was a hell on wheels.
We may have a couple like that. Hayden Paxton, Logan Essig, they're that type too. That someone's getting hit.
It's fun to watch. Absolutely. Well, all right, folks, that'll do it. We're going to wrap it up here. Joe, you got anything else?
I'd go Pirates, man. It was just, we've been waiting for this for a long time, Mark, and here we are Tuesdays, kind of excitement, kind of get to talk to the coaches, get to talk to the players as the season goes on down here, and then just getting ready for that Friday night lights to kick on there. you know, and hear that theme song of AC/DC Hell's Bells as the Pirates take that field. You know, it's just one of those things. I'm sure it's going to be the same way this year. You know, it's that, you know, that crowd, the thunder of the crowd, and it's that fall, you know, that the boys of fall. Like
looking forward to it. No question about it. Well, Coach, thank you so much for sitting in with us, having a little pizza, talking a little football. Folks, we will be on the air live this Friday night, 6:45 pregame, followed by 7 o'clock kickoff right here on your home for Hannibal. Pirate Football, KHBL 96.9 FM. Good night from Frozen Sippies.